Immediately before the alleged assault, 20-year-old Tony Comer had been drinking brandy in this nightclub in Sheffield. By her own admission, she'd become aggressive and had been ejected by security guards. Apparently in retaliation, she vandalised the guards' four-wheel drive car parked outside. She pleaded guilty to an offence of criminal damage today and was ordered to pay £250 compensation to the owner. Back then, police were called to the scene. The nightclub's security cameras captured this footage, which lies at the heart of the allegations of police assault. Top left, Tony Comer can be seen at the top of the fire escape with an officer who's attempting to make an arrest. They fall down the stairs with the police officer landing on top, helmet bouncing away. He's joined by two other police officers and a security guard. As the first policeman attempts to handcuff Miss Comer, he strikes her. We've zoomed in on the footage. The officer on the left delivers 5 punches, but it's not clear where she's hit. Here it is once more. Minutes later, a police dog handler arrives, and Tony Comer is dragged away, trousers around her knees.
Did you see him put his leg in?
Tony Comer is preparing a civil case against the police.
I've got quite a few. Got some bruises on my arms, on my face, at the back of my neck mainly, as well as my legs. It was all scratched and I wasn't aware where the cuts were from on my legs at all.
But there are complications with the evidence. She suffers from epilepsy and she says she was fitting at the time. That's why she's writhing on the ground at one point in the footage, she says, resisting arrest, the police say. She remembers nothing about the incident at all, and the footage came as a shock.
I couldn't believe it, to be honest. I really couldn't believe it. I didn't think that they'd actually do something like that at all.
In a statement, the police officer, P.C. Mulhall, says, she began to kick, spit, and made attempts to bite me. As her hands became free, she tried to grab handfuls of my genitals and knee and kick me in the same place. At this point, I struck her as hard as I was physically able with my right fist in an attempt to subdue her. There was no apparent effect, so I did this twice more. He says when she continued to resist handcuffs, I now struck her as hard as I was physically able in an attempt to deaden her arm. In the end, I had to use brute force. This is the staircase where the CCTV footage was filmed. The tape was obtained by local race relations manager, Ruggie Johnson, who says it reminds him of the savage beating of an innocent black man in Los Angeles, which prompted race riots in the city in 1991.
It's absolutely shocking indeed to think that images like that can be coming out of South Yorkshire in the year of what we now call the abolition of the slave trade. Images of a woman being beaten to the ground by police, stripped from the waist down, and having dogs barking at her. It's absolutely disgraceful. This is not the Deep South, this is South Yorkshire.
We showed the images to John O'Connor, former commander of the Metropolitan Police's flying squad. Right, we see someone coming in from the right here, and now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blows delivered to the woman on the ground there. What's your reaction to that?
Well, it looks bad. I mean, it does look bad, but it obviously depends on where the blows are being delivered to and how strong the individual is that's delivering those blows. I suspect these are blows to the arm, where he's trying to get her to move her arm so that he can get the handcuffs on her. That's how it looks to me. If those were blows to the face, first of all, I think the other officers would have been outraged. And she would certainly have suffered some quite severe facial injuries. The fact that these blows were in pursuance of trying to subdue her to get handcuffs on seems to me to be quite reasonable.
Now, the officer in question did make a statement, and he said, as her hands became free, she tried to grab handfuls of my genitals and knee and kick me in the same place. At that point, I struck her as hard as I was physically able with my right fist in an attempt to subdue her. Isn't that too strong? Isn't that beyond what he should have done?
Well, if that's an officer giving evidence, it shows to me that he's a totally honest person who's telling the truth of what happened.
There's no evidence that the blows were to the face, so the key question is whether repeated blows to the body were excessive, given so many officers were at the scene. South Yorkshire Police said tonight, "We're satisfied with the way this incident was handled and happy with the conduct of the officer, but we will investigate the circumstances of the complaint."